I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on GBN, we dive into a powerful book. It is called Illegal, a Hip Hop Tale, and it is written by an amazing author. Her name is N.G. Young. She has penned a powerful dystopian teen novel where hip hop culture is not just shunned, it's criminalized. In this adrenaline charged world, music, graffiti, dance, and DJing are all outlawed. But a group of brave teens risk everything for freedom of expression. With the help of underground rap road and portals to another realm, they fight to reclaim their voice and ignite a revolution. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on GBN. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her on TV today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. NG, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
This is such an important book. We live in a world where people are canceled or deleted with what feels like the flip of a switch or a touch of a button. Is that a little bit of your inspiration?
Yes. Also, I'm also on top of being an author. I am a hip hop artist myself, an underground independent hip hop artist, and I see how one type of hip. Well, first of all, hip hop is not rap music. Rap
Right.
music is not hip hop. They're two
Yeah.
different things. Rap music is the genre. Hip hop is the culture. And I make that distinction because most people don't know that. They use hip hop and rap interchangeably when the accurate um, separation of them is very important to note because rap music has been hijacked by the music industry.
Mhm.
And so hip hop culture is the free culture of the way of life that
Mhm.
is free, that is not for sale, that cannot be purchased, that cannot be owned or operated by anybody, but rap can, and it has. And so, as an underground hip hop artist, I saw how once, if I was positive, which I am, positive, uplifting, inspirational, and this has been the plight of many other, MCs and artists who are about uplifting the people. So if you're criminalized, if you're talking about crime, you're talking about hypersexuality, if you're talking about these things, the industry can hold you up and gives you marketing dollars and promotes you. And then they wonder why communities are ravaged with violence. So I wanted to write a book that reflected hip hop's voice.
Mhm.
If hip hop was personified as a person, what would it be going through? And that story is told in the narrative of these characters in the book.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool. And it does seem like so much of our world is criminalized today. Hip hop culture, I feel, is a predominantly Black culture.
Mhm.
And it seems like African Americans are largely targeted by the system. Does that any of that play out in your the persecution that we see in your novel?
Well, I just want to correct your point, Logan, that predominantly Black created culture, but
Mhm.
hip hop is multiracial, multi faith, multi ethnic,
Yeah.
and lived by millions, if not billions worldwide, is a culture lived by billions worldwide. So, rap music is the one that is criminalized, and
Mhm.
that culture is criminalized. It says, oh, it's violent. It talks about selling drugs. It's misogynist towards women. It gets all the for lack of a for pun, care no pun intended, bad rap.
Yep.
And that's not the accurate story of hip hop. And
Yeah.
so the story I wrote, I wanted to reflect the accurate story from the underground artists to the executives at Profit to the prison industrial complex and all the things that goes into the criminalizing and making of hip hop illegal because we're headed towards
Yeah.
that way of life. We're here, they're in the developmental stages of making hip hop and rap music and just free thought and free expression and the power to just raise up and say no, this isn't right, illegal, and having people's rights taken away. So I wanted to write a story that was ahead of that that curve to help warn people about what was coming, and also entertain, enlighten, and inspire those who feel like they've been oppressed and criminalized as well.
Absolutely. Talk to us about the significance of the underground rap road.
Okay, so back in slavery times, during the slavery, there was something called the Underground Railroad, right? And there was a network of individuals who sympathized with the plight of African slaves. And so they got together and they helped and they smuggled, they used their houses, but they also not only used, it wasn't just houses and barns and fallout shelters that they used a series of lingo and coded language, and they did this with music as well. For example, you take the word wade in the water, wade in the water, children. God's going to trouble the water. They were not only just talking about, those were not just Negro spirituals. Those were languages and coded meaning of how to stay in the water when you're escaping to throw the scent off the dogs. So rap music and hip hop culture has formulated a coded meaning and language inside the lyrics of MCs. And so you can't divulge that culture. You have to either know it or you don't know it. So in the book, if you didn't know the code, if you didn't know the lingo, if you didn't know it, you couldn't be taught it. You had to be in on it already. And so in the book, when the same thing was when people were being persecuted for their art in hip hop and their culture, a series of people got together and smuggled and who sympathized with hip hop and rap music, because something happened called the Xeno War and the war against hip hop, and where hip hop was made illegal and people were being killed in the book, for having anything to do with hip hop, or imprisoned. And it was something, a war happened called the Hip Hop Holocaust, which basically wiped out a large portion of the hip hop community. And so it was individuals who wanted to help the remnant survive and escape their persecution, and help them smuggle them out through a series of underground networks, bunkers, people fashioned as fallout shelters, and survivalists who empathize with and sympathize with hip hoppers. But also, my book has a sci-fi element in which lyrics and coded meaning and rap lyrics and freestyling creates portals to other dimensions, and they were smuggled out. So that's what the Underground Rap Road is in Illegal.
Very cool. It's a very cool device to help tell the story. Have you envisioned Illegal as a movie, perhaps?
Absolutely. Everyone that reads the book and tells me they see this being made into a movie, cinematic journey like this they say when they're reading it, they can visualize everything because I'm so descriptive in my writings, and they can see and they can hear the rap battles, and they can hear they can smell the smells, they can hear they can taste the taste in the writing. And that's what an author's job is. The author's job, because they don't have a movie before you, it's supposed to make movies in your head so you can see and visualize everything that you're reading. And so everyone that reads it says this has to be made into a movie. So I really hope one day, that's my dream, is for Illegal to be made into a movie.
Yeah, I think it would be great. I think obviously it's got a wonderful soundtrack, and I think you could contribute to that as well. And I
Yeah.
think that'd be wonderful. What do you hope readers take away from your book? What do you hope they learn or understand after reading it?
I want them to know, like, the true application of hip hop. I want them to be able to separate true hip hop culture from criminalized rap music. Now, I love rap music. Don't get me wrong. I got on my Wu-Tang shirt right here, and they're hip hop all the way. But there is an element of rap I don't like.
Mhm.
There is a side, and that's the side that the music industry has pimped out and co-opted and criminalized, and say, and put up and say, here is rap music, here is your culture, this is what we think rap music is, and it's saturated the airwaves. There's not a balance. It used to be where it was a balance, you know, a balance of what you hear and what you're exposed to. Now it's just one type. Now imagine going to the grocery store and only seeing one type of food on the shelf, one type of fruit, one type of cereal, no choices at all. And that's what we have in mainstream rap music. And I want to show the difference between true hip hop culture and what it means to really live and love and take responsibility for this culture and for how it looks and acts in society, and for those who rape and rob it.
Important messages, no doubt. What's next for you as a writer and artist?
Well, I've just finished part 2 to Illegal, where the journey continues. That'll be published either late this year or early next year. It's called Immoral, a Hip Hop Tale. So you got Illegal Hip Hop Tale and you got Immoral Hip Hop Tale. And what it is a continuation of the story of the characters who survive and escape through the portals and the underground rap road to another dimension where they are basically living in a utopia. They have the hip hop culture. I always want to stay ahead and try to think forward. Like what would happen if we got the balance in hip hop? What would happen if we lived in this utopian world? Would we still have an obligation towards nature, towards the elements of each other? Or would we need to restructure our society in a way where we have a more perfect and more harmony and a more balanced harmony? So I see nature, the disturbance and the disruption and the destruction of nature as a problem for all of humanity. And I wanted to reflect that because in this dimension, they're basically living in like a plush room of existence. And they have their utopia, they're living their hip hop lifestyle, they're doing all that, but still is something missing in this world that they left. And that is the destruction and degradation of nature.
Very, very cool. Important messages, very, very original and unique books. The book we've been focusing primarily on today is Illegal, a Hip Hop Tale. It is a bold, high stakes journey into a world where rhythm becomes resistance. NG, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you so much, Logan. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate your wisdom and your insight to the folks at home. I'm Logan Crawford for the Global Book Network. So long for now.